I am fully aware that this is just pure chaos. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So today, we're doing a blush declutter because look at all these blushes. I know this is a lot of blush, you guys, but I love blush so stinking much. Like truly, I love it so much. Before we get started though, don't forget I'm uploading every single solitary day this month. I am super excited about that. If you like this video while you're watching it, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel out. And other than that, if you're excited and you want to see a blush declutter, then let's go ahead and get started. So I've said in a bunch of my other declutters that the Alex 9 drawers are very deceptive. You don't realize how many items of a certain product that you have until you really do pull all of them out and lay them out. But I knew, I knew that blush was going to be wild and crazy and there was going to be a ton of them. There is no order to this. It's pure chaos because I was taking my thumbnail picture for it and I just couldn't, I didn't have it in me to organize it and make it all pretty or anything like that. So I'm just going to get started because this is going to take a while because there's a lot of them. So just going to randomly grab and go. So the first one is from M Cosmetics. This is their Heaven's Glow Powder Blush in the shade Faded Clementine. I love this blush. It is absolutely one of my favorites ever. Definitely keeping. I'll do my other two M Cosmetics blushes while we're at it. This one is the shade Venetian Rose. Another one that I love so stinking much. This is a beautiful tone on my cheeks. Definitely keeping this. Ooh, this one. Okay, okay, this is in the shade Magic Hour. So I really like this one, I truly do, but I really just don't reach for it very often. But I just love the M Cosmetics blush formula so stinking much that I do want to keep this. I do. I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to try to be a little bit more cutthroat with my declutters than I have with other categories, but this one I'm going to try to be a little bit more cutthroat with. Next up, we have this one from Winky Lux. This is their Sunset Glow Ombre Blush. I'm a little on the fence about this one. I haven't gotten a chance to try this out. This was sent to me in PR, but actually, you know what? Before I even try it out and mess it up and ruin it, I'm going to go ahead and gift this one to a friend, see if someone else would want to give this a go, because I just don't see myself trying it out. I'd rather give it away and let someone else give it some more love. Another one I'm 1,000,000% keeping is my Pat McGrath. This is her Skin Fetish Divine Blush. This is in the shade Flirtatious. As you can see, my embossing is getting low because I love it so stinking much. One of my favorite blushes ever. You'd have to pry this out of my hands. Also keeping this one right here. This is the shade Nymphette. This is a little bit newer to me, so doesn't have as much love and use out of it. But this is a really beautiful shade and it has a little bit of like gold shifting to it. It's beautiful on the cheeks. I might as well go ahead and finish my little Pat McGrath collection. This is her Celestial Odyssey Divine Blush and Glow Trio. I put this in here even though it does have a highlight, but it has these two blushes. This is Divine Rose, this is Desert Orchid. As you can see, I love this shade. I love both of these so much. Again, not getting rid of them. The Pat McGrath blush formulation is one of the best. Highly recommend. One I think I am going to go ahead and pass along is this Fenty Beauty Cream Blush. This is O2 Petal Poppin'. I really just don't reach for this very much. I don't really like the formulation of it very much. It's very thick on the cheeks. It blends in nicely and it's a pretty shade, but it just is kind of unforgettable in my collection and I really don't reach for it much, so I am going to pass this along. Then I have 4 of these Cover FX Monochromatic Moment blushes. So the first one right here is called Pink Dahlia. This was the first one I picked up that I fell in love with. I actually genuinely love this blush a lot. I am going to go ahead and keep this one. This one right here is Soft Peach, another one I'm going to keep. I thought about getting rid of this one because I have a MAC blush you'll see in a little bit that's a little bit peachier that I love so much, and that's a lot of the times the blush I reach for when I want a peachy blush. But I actually used this again today and was blown away by how beautiful it is. I love that they have a matte side and a shimmer side, so you really can customize it. They are very pigmented, so definitely be careful when going in with them, but this is another beautiful shade. I'm going to keep this one as well. The other one I'm going to keep right here is called Mojave Mauve. This is a pretty unique shade in my collection. It's a little bit more mauvey but pinky, a little hint of purpley, and I just think it's unique, so I definitely want to keep this one. But I am going to go ahead and declutter this one. This is in the shade Spice Cinnamon. It's just a little bit too deep for me. I remember I got this on sale, half off at Ulta. That's why I picked it up, and I thought it looked really beautiful, but it is just a little bit too deep, even if I go in with a light hand, because they are so pigmented. But I actually have a friend that has a deeper skin tone than me, so I'm going to ask her if she wants me to send it to her. I think it would work out a lot better for her. I'm going to go ahead and keep this one from Buxom. This is their Wanderlust Primer Infused Blush in the shade in the shade Seychelles. There we go. I actually do enjoy this. I'm not as blown away by this blush as I maybe thought I was going to be with all of the hype it gets on the internet. So many people love these blushes. However, I do think it's a really pretty neutrally sort of blush shade and tone, and it is newer to me, so I'm going to keep this one. I have these three Pixi blushes right here. This is their On The Glow Blush Tinted Moisture Stick. This is in the shade Ruby. So they're pretty interesting in the sense that they're like these stick blushes. I just unfortunately have not reached for these at all. I got them sent to me PR, and while I think they're really adorable and I like the shades, this one right here is Fleur, and then we also have this one right here, which is Juicy. I really think they're cute and I like all the shades, but I just don't really get a lot of use out of them, sadly. Oops, almost dropped that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass this along and see if one of my friends wants to try them out instead, because they are really pretty. They're a nice formula, they're pretty shades, and I really do like Pixi's makeup, but I'm just not getting use out of it, and I don't want them to sit in my collection and not get used. I have a couple MAC blushes here. This one is in the shade Stay Pretty. I actually don't think that they make this shade anymore, and last time I used it, it got a little bit patchy on me. I kind of chalked it up to my skin just having a weird skin day, but then I realized that this blush is very old. Like, I have had it for years and years and years. Again, they don't even make this shade anymore. I just kind of keep it around because it's my only light, bright pink blush like this. So I am going to go ahead and keep it for now, but if I continue to see patchiness problems as I keep using it, I will go ahead and declutter it in the future, but again, I want to keep it for now. This was that peachy shade that I was just talking about when I was talking about my Cover FX blush. This is the shade Peaches from MAC. I just really love this blush. As you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but I have a pretty decent dip in it. It's just a really beautiful formulation and shade, so I'm going to keep this one. And this is one of their Glow Play blushes. This is in the shade So Natural. I wanted to pick this up because Jessica Braun raves about this blush. She says it's like well, she hasn't really recently, but in the past, she said it was like one of her favorite blushes. This is one of the most interesting formulations I have in my collection. It's a little bit more of like a putty sort of blush, if you can tell, but the shade is really pretty. It gives a really beautiful glow to your cheeks whenever you use it, and it's nice that it can go over powder even though it's more of like a putty sort of formulation. So I'm definitely going to keep this one as well. One I think I'm going to go ahead and declutter is this one from Rare Beauty. This is in the shade Joy. These blushes are so stinking pigmented. It's kind of insane. So it's a little bit too pigmented for me, and this shade, while it's unique in my collection, so part of me does want to keep it because I don't really have a blush shade like this, I just am not getting a ton of use out of it, and it kind of scares me a little bit whenever I go to reach for it because I know just how pigmented it is, so I am going to go ahead and pass this one along. I have three here from Half Cake Makeup. This is their candy paints. I actually have four. One of them was sent to me, and it's just a little bit too deep, so that same friend that I want to send that Cover FX blush to, I'm going to see if she wants that candy paint. So it's not even in here. I didn't even include it in my collection because as soon as I got it, I realized it was going to be too deep. That one was sent to me, but this is their candy paints. This is in the shade Angel. I really, really like these blushes. They're very emollient and honestly pretty dewy. However, if you set them down with powder, they're absolutely stunning. So again, this is the shade Angel. And we have this shade right here, which is Disco Lemonade. This one was accidentally sent to me. I don't think I would have picked up this bright of a pink shade. However, it is very pretty, so I'm going to keep this one too. And lastly, we have Yacht Week. This was the one that I was trying to pick up when they accidentally sent me Disco Lemonade. It's a really beautiful, like nudie sort of shade, so I'm going to keep this one as well. One I'm going to go ahead and declutter is this one right here from Pretty Vulgar. This is their Hush blush in the shade Make Them Blush. I believe I got this in BoxyCharm forever ago, like years and years ago. And if you can tell, there's a pretty good dip in it. Like, I use this a lot, especially back in the day, but it's very pigmented and it's kind of a bit older. So I think I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to pass. I mean, I think it's fine. I think I am going to try to pass this along. And then if none of my friends want it, I will go ahead and throw it away because it is so old. But honestly, it's a powder product, so it's fine. And it is a pretty shade. I just am not reaching for it much anymore. Another one I'm going to go ahead and declutter is this one right here from Cosis. This is their 8th Muse Color and Light Blush and Highlight Duo. But this is the cream one. I have had this for way too long. And if you can tell, that looks gross. Like, that looks really, really gross. And I actually remember my last blush declutter, I kept this thinking that I was going to give it another go and try it out again, and I never did. So this is just old and cream products and not looking right, so I'm going to go ahead and toss this one in the garbage, sadly. One I'm going to reluctantly keep. I talked about the bronzer in my bronzer duo. This is the M Cosmetics So Soft blush in the shade Lychee or Lychee. I just am not a huge fan of these. They seem to fade on me quite a bit when I wore them, but I haven't really given them a ton of uses. That's why I decided to keep the bronzer and now the blush. But I wasn't like head over heels in love with them when I tried them like I expected to be. So I'm going to keep this and keep giving it tries to see if I can fall in love with it. Another keep right here is my Colourpop. This is their pressed powder blush in the shade Night Bloom. This is one of the most unique blushes in my collection. It's a really bright pinky purpley sort of shade. I really like to use this with my pinky purpley cool tone sort of eye looks, so definitely keeping this. I have a couple e.l.f. blushes right here. Spoiler, I'm going to keep them all. This is their primer infused blush in the shade Always Hazy. This is such a beautiful neutrally deep bronzy sort of blush. I absolutely love this, definitely keeping. Then we have the same primer infused blush but in the shade Always Cheeky. As you can see, I have mega pan of this. I absolutely love this blush. It's beautiful. It's powdery, so I think that's why I have such a large pan, and I also have had it for quite a long time. But I love this and I want to use this blush up one day, so I'm definitely keeping it. Then we have their putty blush. This is in the shade Bora Bora. It's a really beautiful bright pink sort of shade. I actually have only gotten a chance to use it once. However, when I used it, I was very impressed by it, like more than I thought I was going to be. So this is going to be another keep. Then I have two Clover by Cloven Hollow blushes. This is in the shade Juiced, and then we have Heartthrob. So these are actually really beautiful blush shades. I definitely am excited to keep trying them. I only tried Heartthrob in my video, and I didn't get a chance to try Juice. They are very emollient and dewy. However, since I've gotten the half-caked ones and I realized how beautiful they looked set with powder, I want to try that with these. So putting them on a not set face and then setting them with powder and seeing if they like shine through the powder like the half-cake ones. So I definitely want to keep these and keep giving them a go. Then we have this one from Natasha Denona. This is her Puff Paint Liquid Blush Serum. I don't know what shade this is. Does it say? No, it doesn't. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what shade this is, but it's in the tan one. I really honestly don't love this blush. I'm just not impressed with it, especially since it's Natasha Denona. However, I am going to keep it because it's Natasha Denona. So then I have two Flower Beauty Blush Bombs. This is in the shade Cinnamon, and then we have Melon. I actually really love both of these. Cinnamon is such a beautiful, like neutrally bronzy blush shade, and then Melon is a really beautiful bright shade as well. I'm gonna go ahead and keep both of these. I will say I reach for Cinnamon more than Melon, but I want to keep both of them. Then we have my two Hourglass blushes. They are not going anywhere. This is their Ambient Lighting Blush in the shade Diffused Heat. This is a really beautiful, bright sort of shade. And then we also have their Ambient Lighting Blush in the shade Mood Exposure. This is like one of my favorite blushes ever. It used to have a little bit of a dome to it, and now it's definitely flattened out because I've used it so much. I love this formulation. They are stunning on the skin, and I'm keeping both. Then we have two from Cloven Hollow, not to be confused with Clover from Cloven Hollow. It's like a different brand. This is their Hydra Tint blush in the shade Georgia and Blossom. I actually think I'm going to go ahead and pass along Georgia but keep Blossom. Georgia is a little bit more of like just a neutrally sort of shade. Yeah, they come on like a brush. It's interesting. But I just feel like myself not reaching for this too much. But Blossom is a really beautiful, like light pink shade. It's absolutely stunning on the cheeks. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this one, but declutter this one. Then we have my Nude Sticks Nudies All Over Face Color in Bareback. Honestly, it's pretty similar to that Blossom one I just kept, but this is one of the most beautiful neutral tone blushes. I absolutely love this blush. Also, it works beautifully over powder as well, so definitely keeping. One I'm going to declutter is from Ilia. This is their Color Haze Multi Matte Pigment, and this is in the shade Waking Up. I used to reach for this. I just don't ever reach for it anymore, and I don't know, I just don't really want to reach for it. It definitely is more on the matte side, so it was a tiny bit hard to blend, and they say you can use it on your lips too, but I hated it on my lips. But as a cream blush, it is pretty, but I'm just not getting a lot of use out of it, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. This is my Olimar Cosmetics Colorette Blush Trio. They repackaged these, and I'm not sure if they reformulated and renamed them as well, but this is in the medium to tan one, which you wouldn't think would work well on me, but I love these blushes. Again, you wouldn't think so from how they look, but they're pretty hard pressed in the pan, so even if you use them a lot, they just don't really show the love, if that makes sense. But these shades are stunning and unique in my collection, and I want to keep them, so I'm keeping them. I have these two here from Kaja. This is their Cheeky Stamp in Saucy and then Bossy. I have not tried these. They were sent to me in PR, but they are like more of like a sponge sort of blush, and then you open it up and it has like a little stamp that you put it on with. So that one was Bossy, and then this one right here is Saucy. So I'm gonna keep these because I just haven't really gotten a chance to try them out yet, and I want to. I have this one right here from Lancome. This is their Blush Subtil in the shade Sheer Amorose. This is one of my favorite blushes ever. It is a beautiful neutrally pink shade. I love this. It goes with everything, definitely keeping. Then we have this one right here from Essence. It's the Blush, and this is in the shade Befitting. This is another one of my favorite blushes ever. If you can tell, the embossing is pretty much gone, and I ordered 2 more shades of it. As you can see from this blush declutter, I did not need 2 more shades of it. However, they're already like $2.99, and then they were on sale from Ulta for like $1.50, and they're just such an amazing blush formulation. I had to pick it up. So definitely keeping this one, and if you are balling on a budget or you just want a really amazing drugstore blush that's very, very affordable, I highly recommend. Then we have my NYX Sweet Cheeks Soft Cheek Tint. This is in the shade Almost Famous. So this is pretty interesting because it comes on like a doe foot applicator, and it is a really beautiful, like bright orangey sort of shade. It's definitely very unique in my collection, and it's a really lovely formulation, so I'm keeping this. I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this one from Nude Envy. This is their powder blush in the shade Enamor. This was sent to me in PR. I had never heard of this brand before they sent me PR, and while I actually liked this blush when I used it, it was very pretty, it wasn't patchy or anything like that, I never reached for it, and it's also very overpriced. I want to say they want to charge like $38 for this blush, and I just don't think it's worth that, so I'm going to pass it along and see if a friend will get more love out of it. And we have this Bare Minerals Gen Nude Blush in the shade Call My Blush. I got this with Sephora points, which I thought was such an amazing like points perk because, I mean, it's a mini blush, but this will last forever. I love the shade, it's beautiful, and I like the formulation, so I'm keeping this. I'm going to also keep my Grande Cosmetics Plumping Liquid Blush. This is in the shade Sweet Peach. This is such a unique just formula in my collection because it is plumping. It has a little bit of like a cooling effect on your cheeks when you use it, but I like it and it blends in nicely. It doesn't work the best over powder, but it's a beautiful liquid blush, so I want to keep it. Then we have this one right here. This is the Blush On Cheek Stick from Emco Beauty. I guess this is in the shade Bronze. I don't know. I haven't tried this one out yet. This was sent to me through PR in Ipsy, but it's a really pretty shade, so I am going to keep it to give it a go. But the other stick blush that I'm going to go ahead and declutter is this one right here from Milk Makeup. This is their Lip and Cheek just stick, I guess, in the shade Work. I just don't love this. It's a little bit too waxy and like firm for me. The shade is pretty, but I never reach for it, so I'm going to pass this one along. And lastly, we have this Honest Beauty blush right here. This is their cream cheek blush in the shade Coral Peach. I think I'm going to keep this. I thought about decluttering it for a second, but I am going to go ahead and keep it. I decluttered my other shade in my last blush declutter a while ago, and I feel like I used this recently and was actually pleasantly surprised by how beautiful it was on the cheek, so I am going to keep this. So this is going to go ahead and be all the blushes that I am keeping. If I counted correctly, there's 40 here. I know. That's a lot of blush. However, I don't even care. I'm not even mad about this because I love blush so much. It is one of my favorite steps to put on. I love pairing it with my eye look and my lips and making a monochromatic moment. So I like having all of these options. I feel like I have a really good mix of high-end blushes, drugstore blushes, cream, liquid, powder, all of the above. I feel really good about this collection. I love all of these. So again, this is going to be all the blushes that I am keeping. And this is going to go ahead and be all of the blushes I am decluttering. There is 13 of them. I feel really good about them. I look at these and they are ones I'm not reaching for, shades that don't work for me, that I really do think that I can hopefully pass along to friends or family members that will get a lot more love and use out of them. Whoa, that was a long one, guys. That was, that was a blush declutter. I feel really good about that one, though. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. You're awesome and I love you. Please subscribe if you have not yet, and I will see you tomorrow in my next video. Bye, guys.